Welcome to the online lectures for software engineering. In today's class, we'll be discussing the topic an agile view of process. Now, the first thing is, what is agility? What does the term agility mean? The term agility means the ability to respond to changes from requirement, technology, and people. You can say that agility is going to focus on models that is going to have a major criteria that you can make changes whenever and whatever you want. Now, these changes can be requirements, that is, you want change within the requirements, or changes completely change the technology, or completely change the people that are working on the software. So agility is a software that is going to help you make changes within requirement, technology, and people. All types of changes are supported in here. Another definition by Stephen Goldman is agility is dynamic. It is content specific, that is, whatever changes you're making within the content, you are going to follow those. Aggressively change embracing means in here, this changes can be made as many times you want. Changes can be made many times. It is not like only one time you've made a change, then you cannot make a change. That is not the case in here. Then growth oriented. Now, growth oriented means it is going to follow the approach that is incremental. Now, what is an incremental approach? Incremental approach means within the first step, what you're going to do is you're going to deliver the basic functionalities. Basic functionalities will be delivered. Then you can keep on adding different increments within the software. Increment for specific features. These can be added in different steps until the software is complete. So agile models, they follow an incremental approach. Now, what is agility? To be more specific, now agility is effective response to change. Effective means, now if suppose the end user has come and told you that this change need to be made, so that change is going to be made at that specific time period. Effectively, those changes are going to be made. Whatever you're doing, that is going to stop, and you're going to embed the change within the software. The next one is effective communication among all stakeholders. Now, a particular project may have different stakeholders. You might have the marketing people, you might have the software engineers, you might have the financial department people. Now, stakeholders are people that are going to be benefited by the development of the software. So in here, each and every stakeholder can have different requirements of its own. So in here, to meet all the requirements of all the different stakeholders, there should be effective communication among all these stakeholders. Now, suppose addition of one functionality to a software is going to affect the marketing department. So this marketing department is going to communicate with the financial department. That is, if suppose the cost is less, the funds that are given to develop the software, they are less. So in here, they're going to communicate so that everyone's criteria is being met. The next is drawing the customer onto the team, that is eliminate us and them attitude. You are going to enable the customer to participate within the development activities. That is, you're not going to have the differentiation that we are the developers, we do not want the customers to interfere in our work. But if so, the customer is there within your software development process, it becomes easy for you to understand the customer's point of view. So this attitude of us and them will be eliminated, should be eliminated within agile process models. The next is organizing a team so that it is in control of the work performed. Now, in here, the team that is working upon the agile model, they should be in control of the work that is being performed. Now, control of the work means they should be developing the project on time. Any defects within the software or any risk within the software, they need to identify them and eliminate them. Each of the things should be identified. The next is rapid and incremental delivery of software. Now, rapid in here means in here you're going to deliver the software as soon as possible. You are going to deliver the software. Yes, it can be based upon weeks or months time. You're going to take the short amount of time that is required to develop the software. And incremental deliveries, you're going to continuously add features. Add features to the software until the software is complete. Now, there are certain set of principles that there are 12 principles for agility that are defined by the Agile Alliance, the Agile Alliance. Now, in here, the highest priority is to satisfy the customer. Now, in here, the highest priority whenever you're following the Agile models or Agile principles, the first one is you need to satisfy the customer. Now, when will the customer be satisfied? If he gets the software that he wants, any changes that he has requested, those are made. The cost that is there to develop the particular software, that is within his limit that was defined. The technology, the people that they are working, he is satisfied with the people that are working on the technology that is being used. And the next part is within this continuous delivery of the valuable software. That is in here, as we've discussed, that this agile model, it is an incremental model. Incremental model means you're going to continuously deliver a workable software. That is, every time you're going to give a feature that is going to work. The next is welcome changing requirements even late in the development. Now, if suppose you're developing the software and you are within the construction phase. Now, within the construction part, you're coding the features within the software. Now, in here, the end user is going to come and he's going to tell that he wants some specific changes within the set of features. He wants changes in here. So in here, you're not going to tell that you're within the construction phase, so no changes are going to be made. You're going to make those changes within the software. Effective immediately, those changes are going to be made within the software. The next principle, deliver working software frequently. Now in here, you're just not going to deliver the first update and then you're just not going to skip any updates for a year time or 6 months time. You're going to deliver the software, deliver working software frequently. Now this can be within weeks time or a couple of months. You need to follow. If suppose you develop, it is taking you suppose 3 weeks of time to deliver a software. So within every 3 weeks, you're going to deliver some working functionality or some feature to the software. Or if it is taking some months of time, then you're going to deliver the software within the couple of months. Now in here, the time period that whatever you're selecting, it should be a shorter time scale. Now, why a shorter time scale? Because it is going to satisfy the first principle, that is the customer is going to be satisfied if he's going to get a workable software. Then the fourth principle is business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Now, business people in here are the people that are going to be benefited by the development of the software, whereas developers are the people that are going to do the coding part for the particular software, the people that are developing the software. So in here, these business people and the developers that are developing the software, they need to work together throughout the project. Now in here, there are going to be different features that each and every business people require. The managers might require some different goals. The marketing people require some different goals. So in here, when each of them are going to have different requirements. This business people have different requirements that need to be satisfied. Now, if they collaborate with the developer, it becomes easy for the developer to embed those within the software. So that is why they need to work together daily throughout the project. That is it. So it should not be the case that you're going to just come once in a month, say hi and go. No, you're going to work, you're going to come to the office, and daily you're going to keep track of the work that is being done. The fifth principle is build projects around motivated individuals. Now, why we need to develop a project around motivated individuals is because these motivated individuals, they are going to help you with different ideas. If suppose you have a new idea, you might ask the people how this idea is. He's going to motivate you, or he can add some more intel within the particular idea. Not this way, this is going to help it in a better way. Or the process that you're following, he might encourage you to follow your ideas and a better process, and you are, so that you make a software that has got the best quality. Now, in contrast, if you work around unmotivated people or people that are not motivated, they might tell you, why do you want a new idea? Just leave it, just be it done. That is why you're going to focus on working around motivated people. Now, these motivated people are going to provide you the support that you need, and you're going to, you can even trust them to get the job done. If you're these, there's the advantages of working around motivated peoples. The sixth principle is the most effective and efficient method for conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. That is, you've got the end user and you're going to have the developer. Now, if suppose the end user wants certain changes to be made within the software. Now, in here, he's not going to make a call, or he's not going to send a mail. These are not accepted. What he needs to do, you need to set up a meeting, you need to set face to face, and you're going to discuss the changes. Now, if suppose the developer wants to talk something about the product, if suppose the cost is increasing due to certain changes in technology, or any type of changes within the software, any feature that can be added or any feature that needs to be removed to maintain the cost, then again the developer and user need to sit face to face and make a conversation. Calls and mails are not acceptable, because in a meeting, if two persons are sitting across and talking, it is an efficient way of communication. Both can discuss their ideas, you can discuss the pros and cons of the particular project. Then the next principle, seventh one, is working software is the primary measure of progress. Now, how you're going to measure the progress? Measure the progress means how much work is done. How you're going to identify that this amount of work is done? That is identified by how much working software you've developed. How many different features are up and working. That are how many features are developed and they are in use by at the end user side. So that is the way how you're going to measure the progress of a particular software. Then the next principle is agile process promotes sustainable development. Now, in here, the sustainable development is incremental model, the incremental method that you're using for development. Now, this incremental method, it is a sustainable development, because every time within each increment, within a week's time or within months time, you're every time giving some working software to work with. Now, the sponsors, developers, and users, they should be able to maintain a constant pace. Now, in here, constant pace means, now in here, the different features that are going to be updated within the software, they need to be updated at the same time. That is same time in here, I mean that if suppose you're having 2 weeks, you're taking 2 weeks of time to deliver one increment, the delivery of one increment, then you need to follow this same time period for the other increments also. The ninth principle, continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Now, in here, whenever you're developing a software, whether you are within the planning phase or you're in construction phase, design phase. Within the different phases, you're going to continuously have an eye towards technical excellence. That is, whatever software techniques that you're using, it should be the best techniques that you're using, the best tools that you're using. And a good design. A good design means this design should be adaptable. Any changes that you want to make within the software, that can be easily updated. If you want the software to work on different platforms, or it should be easy to maintain, each of the things, they need to be identified. You need to continuously keep an eye towards the technical excellence and the good design so that you can enhance agility. The next 10th principle is simplicity. Now, the software that you are developing, the prototype that you are developing, prototype means model. The prototype, the model that you are developing, or the design. Now, the design in here, you can have the or the architecture, everything that you're following, or the components that you're selecting, how each and every component is going to be set, how each and every component is designed. Each of the component, it should be simple. Now, why it should be simple? Now, if suppose it is very complex, means it is going to take a lot of time. And when it is complex, it is taking inputs from different components. It is giving inputs to different devices. If suppose there is a fault in, if suppose you have a fault in one component, it is going to completely slow down the entire software. A fault at one side of the component, it is going to affect the entire system. Entire system will be affected. The 11th principle, the best architecture requirements and design emerge from self-organizing teams. Now, now within the TSP team software process, we have seen that you have got self-directed teams. Now in here, those people are going to make their own plan, own architecture, own design. So in here, when people are so motivated, they are going to give you the best architecture, the best requirements, and best designs are going to come from these motivated people. The 12th and the last principle, at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective. Now in here, at regular intervals means at specific time, what you're going to do is you're going to keep a track of how effective and how you're going to tune and adjust its behavior accordingly. That is, you're not going to just focus on the best development. At regular intervals, you're going to reflect that as what you are doing, how you're doing. You're going to identify how is the work that you're doing, at what pace you're following, whether you're doing the best job or not. You're going to evaluate yourself or your work. You're going to continuously evaluate your work, so to identify whether you're effective or the software that you're developing it is effective. Then if suppose there are any changes that need to be done in your work that you're doing, or any changes that need to be done so that the software becomes effective, that changes in here, you're going to make those changes within the software. You're going to adjust the behavior. Any changes are there, you are going to embed them. So these are the 12 principles of the Agile Alliance that were defined for agile software development. Now, these principles can be asked, you might be asked within the final examination to define any 4 principles or 5 principles. Then they might give you to explain a model of Agile. There are 7 models within Agile. So they might ask you to explain a few principles and explain a particular model. Or completely they can ask only to explain a model. Now the next is Agile software process. Now this Agile software process, again, this is an important for short answer as well as long. What is an Agile software process? Now an Agile software process, it is characterized in a manner and it addresses the 3 key assumptions for every software project. Now the first assumption is it is difficult in predicting changes of requirements and customer priorities. Now why it is difficult in predicting changes? Because this software, it is going to enable you continuous change within requirement technology and people. Requirement, technology and people. That is why it becomes very difficult to identify what are the different requirements that are going to be present. That is what requirements might persist, that is what might remain, and what might change. You do not know what is going to be there till the end, what is going to change. That is why it becomes very difficult for you to identify. The next assumption is, for many type of software, design and construction are interlinked. Now in here, it is difficult to predict how much design is necessary before construction is used to prove the design. That is why now in here, as you do not know which requirements are going to persist and which are going to change. So in here, for many software development, this before developing a particular software, it will be difficult for you to tell what will be the design of the particular software, because in here nothing is going to remain. You do not know what is going to change, what is going to be there. So in here, you're going to leave the design and the construction part. The third one is analysis, design, construction and testing. The first one analysis, second design, third construction, and fourth testing. These four are not predictable as we might like. Now these are not predictable. How these are not predictable? As within, if suppose we take up the point of view of planning, within the planning phase, what we do, we identify what is the design that might develop. You're going to make a schedule. You're going to identify the different risk. You're going to identify the different test cases that you're going to use. Each of the thing you're going to make a plan in here. So from planning point of view, this is difficult to predict. From planning point of view, the analysis, design, construction and testing is difficult to predict. So these are the three characteristics of the agile software process. Now the question arises is that, how are we going to create a process that can manage unpredictability? So in here, you're going to manage an unpredictability by making a process that is adaptable. That is, it is open to changes. It is open to changes. By this way, you're going to guarantee, like you can guarantee that a process can manage different unpredictable situations. Now in here, it must adapt incrementally. Now incrementally, because this is a continuous project, so adaptability should also be continuous and increment. Now this incrementally, this incremental process, it is going to enable customer feedback. That is, whenever you're delivering the software, within a few weeks of time or within a few months of time, customer is going to give its own feedback. That is, this particular feature might have, if suppose it has, if you've got some basic functionality, you might ask that if you can provide an additional feature, or whether you can increase the performance. Every time you're going to get feedback when you're using an incremental process. Now this effective method of customer feedback, this is taken by an operational prototype, that is a working software, and portion of an operational system. Portion means by taking feedback from a particular part or a particular component of the software. Now this incremental development strategy, it should be instituted in such a way that each and every software increment should be delivered within the short period of time. This is the main requirement for an agile software. Now in here, as you're developing, now the same point is that when you're developing the software within a short period of time, you're going to get regular feedback from the customer. Now this feedback is going to help you to optimize the project in a very good way. Now these agile software process, within this, each iteration can last from about 1 to 3 weeks. If you're working within weeks of time, it is going to take this amount of time. That is, an increment should be developed within 1 to 3 weeks of time. Now, if suppose it is taking a month time, then within 1 month of time, it should be this time that should be selected. It should be less. Every time that you're selecting the time, it should take less amount of time. It involves cross-functional team working. Now cross-functional team working is, now if suppose you've got two teams, you've got team A and team B. Now team A is working on functionalities 1 and 2, B team is working on 3 and 4. Now if suppose 1 and 2 is completed in the A team side and B is completely focusing on 3, he's got within the same amount of time only 3 is completed. Now as A is completed, he can assist with the fourth task, cross function, that is A can also work within B. Now the same way B can work within A team. Now in another cases, now if so, what is going to happen is that A and B, again they all are working on 1, 2, 3 and 4 software. Now when this all is completed, you're going to work together and you're going to embed this entire software as a whole, adding 1, 2, 3 and 4 all together, working as a team. In here you're going to do all the testing and coding part and complete the software. Now within this agile software process, you're going to focus on different areas while working. The first one is planning. Within planning, what you're going to do, make a schedule. You can identify the risks. You can identify the different resources that are required. You can also make a plan for the different test cases. Now test cases, because now if suppose one risk is going to occur, how you're going to ensure that that risk is not going to occur, you're going to design a test case. That is what is going to happen if you give correct input and what is going to happen when you give a wrong input. The next is requirement analysis. Whatever requirement that was stated by the end user, whatever you're developing, whether they are going to match the ones that are there within the software. The next one is designing. You're going to make the design, or you can say you're going to make a architecture. Then you're going to code, that is all the features are added by coding within the software. Unit testing. Now what is unit testing? If you remember, testing each and every component individually. Component testing individually. Now as we've taken the example of A and B teams working on 1, 2, 3 and 4 component, that is in here, what you're going to do is you are going to test first component completely, like removing it from the entire team. 1, 2, 3, 4, you're going to check only one differently. Then you're going to check 2 completely differently. Then 3 is going to be tested. Then 4 is going to be tested. That is all this components. Testing each of the components separately is called as unit testing. Whereas the next one is acceptance testing. Within acceptance testing, you're going to identify whether all the requirements that were stated by the end user, whether they are present within the software or not, whether all the specifications are there within the software or not. That is called as acceptance testing, because the end user needs to accept the product. So within this agile software process, you're going to write down about the agile assumptions. Then it is an adaptable process. It requires 1 to 3 weeks of time. It is an incremental process, and all the activities that you're going to focus on within an agile software process. Now within the agile models, there are 7 different models. The first model is extreme programming, also called as XP. Next one is adaptive software development, ASD. The next is DSDM, dynamic system development method, Scrum, Crystal, feature driven development, and agile modeling. These are the 7 different models that we are going to study individually. Now, as I told you, with an agile, for an answer, if suppose an external, you get an answer from agile modeling, you can get this agile modeling along with the principles. You might be asked to explain any 5 principles, 4 principles, and you might be asked to explain any of the model, or only model can be asked. So we'll be discussing all these 7 models within the next class.